Good evening, everybody. It's 6 o'clock, ready for us to start. Thank you all for coming. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. However, there is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in agenda item 3. If you haven't already, if you would like to speak during public participation, please grab one of the forms off of the table in the back and just bring it up and hand it to me, and we'll make sure that you're in the queue for that. Valerie, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Dillon.
Here.
Mr. Rudd.
Here.
Mr. Skidmore.
Here.
Dr. Smith? Here. Ms. Mueller? Here. Mr. Bowman?
Here.
Ms. McLaughlin? Here.
So I'll stand together for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda item 3A, recognize donors to the Education Foundation Building Enhancement Campaign. Valerie, would you give a quick explanation of what it is we're doing here?
Yes, our Valley View Educational Foundation has generously been administering a program called the Building Enhancement Campaign. And for a certain contribution, we will be able to accept those funds and enhance our buildings, such as outdoor benches and tables, and possibly some other plantings. So we want to thank the community so much for your generous donations to this enhancement fund to our new building that we're all very excited to be in.
And so we will be voting later to approve those donations, but for now we have certificates to hand out. And I believe we have a number of folks here ready to receive those, and so thank you for coming tonight. First, we have a representative from Valley View class of 1984. You should stay close to the front because you're the person after the next one too. Valley View class of 2023.
Kevin Zeskins was the class advisor, so we'll make sure that the class of 23 gets this.
Tom and Melinda Bowden-Distel. Glenn and Lorene Bowman. Mike and Shannon Cox.
Thank you so much.
Greg and Carol Donson. The Dubs Company Charitable Foundation.
They are there.
Mike and Linda Eckert. Fred and Karen Guerin. Farmersville Veterinary Clinic and the Hodson family. The Holtzmuller family. The Longman family. Jason and Jenny Michael. Rocco and Lynn Miller. Jesse and Amanda Reed. The Schaller family. and Julia Smith. Mark and Sarah Jane Steinecker. Catherine Grunwald Stone. Craig Swanson. Jim and Bonnie Toothbury. Valley View Community Drug Free Coalition, Beth Genslinger. And Valley View PTO. Thank you all for your support of our students. Roman numeral 3B, we have an update from the Valley View Performing Arts Committee.
Okay, well, this is warming up. Just kind of a reintroduction of who I am. My name is Dawn Gunter, and I taught in the Valley View School District for 23 years. I directed for 18, and we are here. We were formed in 22, and that's kind of going to go into my presentation, but we were formed in 2022 in response to realizing that there wouldn't be a performing arts center for the kids, a stage or anything like that. I don't know if this is how I should touch this.
HDMI 1.
Just touch it, okay.
Nope.
That's not, okay.
Just the home button.
Do I? Home. There's no place like, okay, so we'll click our heels too. I did that show one time. All right. So here we go. Oh, let it go. There we are. All right, there we are. I'll go ahead and start. We were began in August of 2022 in response to realizing that there would not be a performing arts center for the facility in the K-12 building, and instead of kind of stomping our feet and doing all those other things that we're on the negative spectrum, we decided that we would band together and we would try to find a way to work with the school district and work with outside sources to make a place that would be available for our students. Before I go any further, I do want to let you know that I am not the only person on this committee, even though they keep shoving me into the spotlight and I keep having to do these presentations. But I do have a table of people with me tonight, and truly, they have been with me since the beginning, and even before that, they've been with me since I started the program here at Valley View. And so I'd like to introduce Daryl Abner, who is here and who has provided us so much information through his involvement with the Schuster. He's employed by the Schuster, the Dayton Live program, so we get a lot of information from him. There's my husband who puts up with me on a daily basis through thick and thin through this project. Kendall Peters is with us, and Mark Houston, and I'm just grateful for each one of them to be a part of that. So in the 2 years that we have been meeting, and we've kind of taken a hiatus because we were in your face for a long time, and we decided to step back to let you know, but we wanted to let you know that we have made progress and that we continue to work. So we have pretty much met monthly. We've taken a couple holiday breaks, but mostly we have met monthly to figure out what it is that we were going to do. And we've done our homework. We did not go into this. One of the first things that we wanted to do was to make sure that we were an informed and educated committee, that we were not just flying into this willy-nilly with some high hopes that would not come to fruition. So we have met with a lot of people to make sure that we are grounded, that we're educated, that we know what we're talking about, and that we're connected to the right people. And so we've worked with financial folks, we've worked with architectural firms, we've worked with construction firms, fundraising campaigns, feasibility studies, and then other experts and advisors who have helped us along the way to get to where we are today. In the 2 years, what we've done is that we've negotiated and laid a memo of understanding with the Valley View Board of Education. We're thrilled about that. We know that this is a shared project. This has always been a shared project for us. We never wanted it to be an us and them. That was one of the very first goals that we set when we met as a committee, that this was going to be a joint project that was for the students, for the district, and for the community. We've also planned and designed a facility in collaboration with VSCW Architects. Eric DePue was wonderful in connecting us with them, and we instantly connected. They were on board with us, and they have seen us through the development project and to where we are today. We've met and begun planning the initial fundraising campaign video, and along with that, I have to step back. I think I skipped a point, but we have obtained our LLC. We are looking at moving into a C corporation. We have partnered with the Valley View Music Boosters as far as our 501(c)(3). We've received our funds through that, and we raised $12,500 to pay for our feasibility and our architecture form. And that happened because this community believed in what it was we were doing and continues to believe in what we are doing, because we continue, as I said, to do it for the community and for our students, and that's our first and foremost goal. But we have a testimonial video that will be coming out that will institute our fundraising campaign, and we were looking at what is it that we want this building to do. And when we first started in 2022, it was just to gain some sort of place for the performing arts, because that just doesn't exist right now for us. And so we continue to work towards that goal. But as we went through our discussions and as we started learning what the community needed, what the district needed, what was going to be best for everyone, we decided that it needed to be bigger than that. We did not want to be exclusive. We did not be the only thing that happened in this building. And so we changed our look as to what should the building do. And the building should service our community. It should service everybody in our community and our school district. We changed the name from the Valley View Performing Arts. We're kind of stuck with that right now because that is our LLC. And so we have to kind of keep that and use that as we go forward. But we're looking at a cultural arts center, a place where people can come for gatherings of any sorts. We want you to use the lobby for your graduation parties. We want you to use the theater for all the recognitions, for the athletic banquets, for the National Honor Society ceremonies. We want you to have a place that provides you the decorum that you need for the ceremonies that our kids are going to have. And we wanted it to be located in a place that was accessible to our kids. We looked at a lot of different places. We looked at both of the buildings that are being left, and we looked at community buildings. We looked at all of the areas that we could possibly go to, and we settled on a place that we want our kids to be able to leave school, to walk across the bridge, and to go to a ceremony. We want them to see what it feels like and looks like to be part of something that has the feel of something special. And so we are going to be calling this the View, the Culture Center. So in that, we wanted to make sure that the testimonies that we are gathering are the people who are truly going to be affected by what this building is going to do. So our testimonies are going to come from the athletic director, the head football coach, the president of the athletic association. We reached out to them and they were enthusiastic to accept our invitation to become part of this testimony. We have community members on board, across the board, We have people who are business owners and who are working for banks and who are just people who are in the community who know that this is something that's important to them and important to this community. And then also we have our school administrators and our teachers who are willing to just talk about why they believe that something like this is important to us. So we're working towards reaching the goal of building a cultural center for this district and the community. And what did we do with our money? Well, we hired an architectural firm and we have a feasibility study that has gone out. We are going to get the results of that. The initial results is just the community says, we believe this is important. We want this to happen. We think that this is someplace that will be utilized by both the community and the district. The thing that we're all, of course, concerned about is how in the world are we going to pay for this monster? And we realize that, we've acknowledged that, we know that this community has been asked for money and asked for money and asked for money. So we've set our sights broader than this community. We hope that we have a ceremony that's very similar to what we just did, and that we bring people forward that have contributed to buying a seat. Or we tease about in our committee about buying the golden toilet in our bathroom and getting your name above it. But we hope that we have that same kind of ceremony that people are contributing to this. But we know that our funding has to come from beyond the walls of this community. And so we're working really hard to obtain a fundraising person and getting them started and getting them on board for us with all the requirements that we have. But we did take our money and we did use it wisely. And what we have is our design for our building, the view of the cultural center. And this is what our building will look like. And I don't know if you need to move, but this will be the front view. Our architect had his son come down and do a drone shot, so you're going to see how it lands actually on the building. If you look at the columns, you'll see that this is an absolute nod to the Spartans, and we wanted to make sure that we were continuing to be part of the Spartan world, that we are Spartans, we believe in that, and we want to maintain that. So you can see that the Spartan head is definitely something that is there, and it is going to be a theme that runs throughout the building. This is where it lies, actually on the campus. I told Matt King, your football field, and William, your football field is not touched, I promise. It is over here, it's intact, we are not involved in that at all. The new building is over here on your right-hand side, and so we'll have some handicap parking that we will have to provide for our facility, but we're hoping to use both the current high school parking and the new facility parking with the bridge that will bring people over to the facility. This is the lobby, and again, we were, of course, not looking at trying to mimic the Schuster. We don't have that money, but we certainly wanted to have a lobby that was welcoming to the people who are coming into this facility, as well as a functional lobby. We believe that this building is going to provide revenue for this community, and that revenue is going to come from the people who are renting, the people who are coming in and who are using all of the places that the facility has to offer. And we're hoping that the lobby is one of those places. It's just a different shot of the lobby, a little closer. But these people are getting their tickets to a fabulous show. And so we're excited about that. And those are actually, this is actually what this is the view here out there. So it is kind of true to what is happening. Another shot, that was the pipe that you're looking at, and over to your left, you're looking at the current high school. This is the theater, and this is a 600 seat theater. How we came to the number of 600 is because that's about the approximate number that the high school population is. And as we said, this was one of the things, this is one of our goals, is that this is a facility that is used by our students, that they have access to it, that they feel like this is their place. And if they have some sort of program, if there's a National Honor Society induction ceremony that's happening during the school day, we don't want them to have to do it in the gym. We want them to do it in a place that allows for them the decorum that kind of ceremony requires. It does have room, it has some wiggle room to go up to about 720 if we want to scoot those seats together and push them together. and can do that. So if we do grow and we need some more seats, we can provide that for you. This is looking from the stage to the back, and again, you can see that the columns are representing the Spartan helmet. So that is there, it's very present, and we wanted to make sure that that was there. And it has some really nice cushy seats. So if you went to Pride and Prejudice and you sat in those hard seats for a little while, if we do that again, then we will provide you with this lovely label as part of that. This is our black box, looking from the black box out into, this is the high school that you're looking at. We're hoping that a black box is really just what that is. It's a big box, it's painted black, and it's kind of a universal space for a lot of different places. We were thinking about what can it be used for, and one of the things we talked about is our kids, a lot of our students are signed onto colleges, and they have ceremonies, and the media comes in, and we think that this would be a perfect place for them to have the media come in, to have families come in, to have a reception afterwards, and so we're hoping for that. But we're also looking at what can we do to provide some entertainment and some promotion for our community. And one of the things that we talked about was an outdoor venue, and kind of taking Saturday Night Live's stage that they have and kind of growing on that. So as you can see, that there is a stage that goes out into that courtyard, and that's what that looks like from there. So in the summertime, if we have any kind of community performance that is occurring, or if we bring someone in, then we would love to be able to fill this courtyard full of lawn seats and have someone perform there and highlight them. And so that's what our facility looks like right now. We are at the point where we are starting our fundraising campaign. We are looking at our filming and showcasing our initial video. We're hoping that it is a series of videos that will help you be informed as to what we are doing. And we're just very excited about this. This has been a committee that has believed in this from the get-go, that has been relentless in their belief, who's never given up. We've met days when we're like, we don't know what we're doing or how we're doing it, but somehow we've been provided with people and opportunities that have allowed us to do what we have hoped to do. And so we hope that someday, in collaboration with you, the district, and with you, the community, that this will be something that will sit on the hill, and it will be something that you're proud of, and that your kids and your grandkids will be proud to go into. So if there are any questions, I'll be glad to entertain them if I know the answers to them. If not, I'll be completely honest and say I don't know. I've learned a lot in this process. I say words and I explain them that I never thought that I would know what those words meant. So it's been a growing experience for me as well. Are there any questions that I can answer for anyone? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Before we move on, I don't remember how many folks met in the basement of the library for the first meeting 2 years ago, but it seemed like it was maybe 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So somewhere around there. I dropped in for a little bit, and what you all have done to take it from that to where you are now just speaks volumes to your commitment to it. Having grown up in a community that actually had to build a facility, and just to see what kind of a difference it makes, it's life-changing for the kids in the community. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Roman numeral 3C, public participation. We have just one, Liberty Wall. Anywhere in this general vicinity.
Okay. Well, I'm Liberty Walton, and I live in Germantown. And many years ago, about 3 superintendents ago, I'm Mrs. Cook, I sent out an email, and I believe you guys all received it too, about homeschool dates. I no longer have as much of a, my kids have moved on more or less, but I do believe in this, and I believe we can partner together with the school and make something happen here. Well, Mr. McKee had talked to me back in April and had let me know that there was something going to pass, possibly June or July, for not accepting, but what I want to tell you guys about is the homeschool grades and how it's more or less the transcript of the student and how portrays the history or the journey of their education. So kids that have been homeschooled, as you guys remember me talking about, and it affected my daughters, that were homeschooled, and then they're transferring back into the high school. They might have a couple high school credits, or they might have many credits. In the case of my daughter, who was, during the I had two daughters that graduated 2020, 2021, so we know what those years were like. So, and we know that pulled out, went to a couple classes, just at Valley View, but homeschooled the rest. So when the one daughter went to apply for college, a lot of her transcript had P's on it, because as Valley View's current policy, they take the grade that is there, it's just transferred over, and it's basically a pass or fail. It denotes that it's homeschooled biology, but it might say a P, which essentially, on my transcript, it was a grade, but it's how it was transferred over. Well, that became an issue when they started applying for universities, for schools, because they couldn't measure their rigor. So a lot of the schools, Ohio State, Miami, Bowling Green, my daughter's at Liberty now, but they all said, just give me your homeschool transcript and put Valley View on your homeschool transcript, because we accept that. Now, that sounds great. Why don't we just do that in case kids come back into the school? But there's other things that happen, because by law, the public school becomes the record keeper of the transcript. And that's where it should reflect that student's journey and their history through education properly. Because the transcript essentially is for who? It's for the student. It's their record of education. And if you can take your own, take out whatever, put on the side anything that's essentially, okay, no valedictorian, no honor, no whatever you want to do with those other classes. But Mr. Skidmore, Lily, she took his Algebra 2 class, and the A she earned in his Algebra 2 class, the A that she essentially earned in her Algebra 1 was turned into a P, so that's where it's just one of those issues that we just need to move in that direction, because education has changed so much in the past 4 or 5 years, right? So I didn't know if you guys had any questions for me moving forward, because I just feel like we should have this policy looked at and really changed. And there's been a couple times in Valley View, I can think of like maybe 10 years ago, where a student was applying for some major universities, and the board voted to alter that student's transcript for the grades to reflect that they took. But yeah, so I just wondered where you guys had any questions, or where we sit on that, because.
Yeah, I guess that question. And obviously there are lots of things to consider. I mean, there are, there's a choice to homeschool or there's a choice not.
Right.
And that's the reality of the situation. There are competitive components, right, where, we don't have the control over, no, wait, just what is that homeschool rigor?
Right.
I know I'm very confident that your children are getting a rigorous education.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't necessarily know that from other people. So
Right.
I guess my question for you is, what specific requests would you like to see?
Yeah.
And how do they take into consideration the fact that we also do have to be fair to everybody else?
Absolutely, because most of the schools in our area and around the state do accept those grades. So like I said, it says, and not accept it that you're claiming it's your grade, it says homeschool, and colleges and universities do the same. It says homeschool, and then it has that grade. So you can make whatever assumption with that homeschool that anyone can. I mean, you could, when we turn in our transcript to other universities, I have course descriptions and then the transcript. So you could ask for course descriptions, because that's the other thing. Not many people, homeschool high school. High school is one of those things where they go back to school. But it would be great for the school to partner with, maybe some students want to still keep their history at home, because that's part of their religion, goes with their religion, or they're doing, field trips or whatnot in the morning, or they're doing their CC plus classes or whatnot. but they want to come in and say, hey, I want to do choir at the school, or I want to take chemistry because I don't want to mess with chemicals so it's a partnership because essentially it's a choice, but it is a tax, we're all part of the same community. We get to be all part of this beautiful thing Mrs. Gunter's put, with the work there. We're all part of this. We're part of sports. Another interesting component is we have to turn in our grades to the AD when they play sports. And I'm just like, well, they don't take them. Can I just put pass or fail? And no, you have to turn in the actual grade, because the Ohio High School Athletic Association wants to know that that homeschool student is eligible and they're doing what they're doing. So yeah, but I mean, you just have to come up with something. But the other part of this is that to go to CTC, those students are they are truly, you can't measure a rigor with a P. And so those students are passed over sometimes. We've had one he's actually a pilot now for Southwest, but he was passed over to go to the aviation program at CTC. And he's 21 years old, so it's interesting. But the other thing is valedictorian. They're passed over. The year my daughter Clara was a senior with CTC, the valedictorian was a homeschool kid from Phillipsburg. And he went into the CTC program right from his school. Well, our kids, though, they don't get to be valedictorians because they have P's on their transcript. So, did I answer your question?
Yeah, I kind of.
Okay.
So I guess I have a follow-up.
Yeah, go for it.
Would it address your concern? Because one of the things that you pointed out is that the school is basically the keeper of.
Yes,
and they're the
exactly.
steward of this transcript.
Yeah.
Would it address your concerns to simply append the homeschool transcript to the official transcript so that the decision makers at the colleges can see both the pass-fail and the assigned grade?
You mean just turning in the homeschool transcript and that, or what?
Just to combine, to have them together.
We have in the past, but the part about it that a lot of schools in the area do, because when you combine that, they still see those P's reflected on that.
Sure.
And that is the issue that, by law, they become, because we're all taxpayers here, you become that record keeper of everything. And so it should accurately portray their academic walk through their journey. It really should. So when you still have those P's on there, if you guys, it would be great, just, okay, we're not gonna list any of your homeschool classes. That'd be fine. We're just gonna take what your Valley View is, but I think by law, they actually have to, Mrs. Keating worked really hard to figure out, okay, what grade, what do you do with logic? What does that transfer over to? And I go, well, I'll just keep that on my homeschool transcript, but, yeah. So I don't know what that could look like, but I know that I thought we were close to doing that. A lot of my other schools, Waynesville, they just they're like, whatever, they're their grades. We're taking them Edgewood, Miamisburg, so many schools. I don't think Springboro did it though. I called them about it. Yeah. But so many schools. In fact, 20 out of the CTC consortium, they all take, there's only 4 schools that don't, and we're one of them. So,
Or maybe, and perhaps the move from valedictorian to salutatorian honors, moving from that to the Latin honors might make that less of an issue.
it might be, but you guys can keep all that separate on the side. If it just that their transcript could go with them, you could put your P's on the side of a transcript. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it just needs to academic or portray their history, their journey through academics correctly. So, yeah. Do you have any questions?
Roman numeral 4, approval of minutes, regular meeting of October 14th, 2024. Would someone like to make a motion that we approve those? Do we have a second? Discussion? Valerie, would you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Dillon,
Yes.
Mr. Rudd,
I'll abstain since I wasn't here.
Mr. Skidmore.
Yes.
And Dr. Smith.
Roman numeral 5, building project update.
This will be our last project update. We'll be in the building for our next show meeting. We're excited to bring all the children in and let them see everything that's going on, see their new education space down the line. It's been a fantastic project, it's been a learning move for me. The pre-high K trying to keep up with that being said, since we get it open, we can get everybody in there. Once it's complete, we'll get everybody in the building to do it for and see well we've been doing, taking care of. The ones of you that have seen it, everyone's been impressed. I've got no complaints, I can tell you that. The building does not need to stay in efficient. So, with that being said, I did want to change the subject just for a half a second. That's all right. There's been some rumors going around about the Farmersville building and possibly we're abandoning it. We're not abandoning it. We're still working toward trying to get the brownfield demolition grants. We started meeting with the village of Farmersville back in February of 24. That grant had a deadline of April 1st. We had to obtain quotes and things in that time process. We talked with the grant company or with the land bank, and they suggested that all the money they would have coming had already been spoken for. It was done on a first come, first served, as long as we qualified in their way. We had three things against us. One was we did not have quotes from one of their pre-approved vendors. That's smart when they go to their punch list and how many points you're getting. The second was that we were not vacant. We're asking for money to tear down a building that we're still occupying. Again, they're gonna knock you on points there. And then thirdly, because it was the first come, first served that opened in December, they had already agreed to spend all the funds essentially that they were getting out of that grant. So our name's still in the queue, our application's still in there. As soon as it opens up and they are anticipating another round. But I just want to kind of clarify that I saw something on Facebook or something. I didn't even understand half of it, but I want to clarify something like this.
Thank you. So just a quick question. There has been some question about whether parents are going to have an opportunity to see the building before the students are ultimately in the building. Now, bear in mind, most parents haven't seen every room of every building where students go to in school. But am I understanding correctly that we're working on having an opportunity coming up before the students are in the building for parents who are interested in touring?
I would give anything to be able to do that. Okay? You guys were up there tonight, you saw there's still stuff in the hallways. It's just not safe to turn the phone loose and don't adjust yet. We're close. I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to make an announcement very soon, that we will be able to have a community open house prior to the students showing up. But I'm not guaranteeing it, because I don't want to come back to you and say, oh, I should go, I can't do that. So I'd rather just hold off the levels, as long as necessary, to get it scheduled so we can. All right, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you for the work you've done on this. So thank you. Maintaining multiple buildings and helping oversee the construction project. Thank you. Roman numeral 6A, recommend the board approve financial statements for the month ending October 31st, 2024, attachment number 2 in your packets. Would someone make a motion to that effect? Do we have a second? Any discussion? Mallory, call the roll.
Yes, Mr. Dillon,
Yes.
Mr. Rudd,
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore, Dr. Smith.
Roman numeral 6B, discussion of fiscal year 2025 financial master plan.
Thank you. Dr. Cheney, I'm sorry. It is that time, it's November.
First HDMI.
First one?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, this is the first. My notes are off. So we have to submit a 5-year forecast in November and May each year. What I wanted to do is this, that each time I submit a 5-year forecast, we have to have it board approved. So every 6 months, we're updating our forecast here. Today, what I'd like to talk about is a brief review the process. We only do it every 6 months, so let's just talk real quickly about what we do here. And compare our November forecast to what happened last May. So you guys can see. And then talk about what the actions that the district is taking right now. What the 5-year forecast does is we have a project out 10 to 5 years for our forecast. We have 3 years of actual and the rest are forecast. Then it comes down, and annually in the current year that we're in, we have to prepare a certificate of estimated resources, which is our revenues, as well as an appropriation certificate, which is our expenditures. But in order to make a budget for the current year, we talk to our budget managers, we talk to our department heads, we talk to all the folks and look at our staffing. So it is not just somebody sitting in an office crunching numbers. It is a full-on, complete organization, all hands on deck to prepare this budget. Now, the 5-year forecast is updated every 6 months. The November forecast really focuses on the current year. We have 4 months of actual during the summertime, July and August, and then September and October. The dust has settled. We've got kids where they're going to be for the year. We've got our staffing in place. We can make a really good projection. There are some surprises sometimes, but we can make a decent projection of how we're going to end up for the year. The forecast that we'll do in May tends to look at, just making sure that we tidy things up. We're going to end up the year where we are, but a forward focus on next year's budget and the future years and what it looks like. The intent on preparing a 5-year forecast or a 10-year forecast is not necessarily to say and to believe that this is exactly where we're going to be, but it gives us an idea. It allows us to trend things out, to see decisions that we make today, how it plays out in the future. Values, cash position, our 5-year forecast right now. These are our 3 years of actual, 22, 23, 24. 25 is still the forecast. We are here, and 26 on out. Blue is our revenues, and the orange is our expenditures. The yellow line is our days of cash on hand. And we can see that we've had an increase last year, and then we precipitate down quickly in future years. And we'll discuss the why of that in a moment. The Governmental Finance Officers Association recommends that school districts keep a day supply of cash on hand of 60. We maintain 60 days on hand through 2027. We don't go below that until 2028 with this current forecast. The important point to point out is that this forecast does not include any cost reductions for this year. It just trends everything at costs as they are now on out. This is a slide that I presented in May with the 5-year forecast, where I pointed out where our risks and opportunities were. And I'd like to revisit that slide so we can just compare where we are now to where we said we were going to be back in May. The 5-year forecast, these top 3 bubbles are in revenue. Property tax reform, we've got the local capacity calculation, our fair school funding model, our income tax revenues, and then our expenditures. So we'll talk about the revenue first, and we'll talk about the property tax reform. So far in 2025, our property tax collections are being collected as we had expected. Not much of a change there. We were placed on the 20 mil floor. We'll have more of a discussion later, but that is a big deal in our property tax revenues. We look at the local capacity. This is where we've had a major change, a major shock. In May, I reported, we can identify shocks, we can absorb the shocks. This was a shock to us. Okay. How the fair school funding model works, this is the state funding, is the state calculates a cost to educate a student using all kinds of inputs from the local district. And these costs some can be updated every 2 years in the budget cycle, but they don't necessarily have to be. The legislature has to approve that. So you take the cost to educate a student. less the local capacity. What the local capacity is that is a blend, a 3-year rolling average of our property values as well as our income tax. Not our income tax that we collect, just our income base, adjusted federal income tax for our community. The difference between the cost of educated student and the local capacity per student is what the state provides for a base cost. As we know, we had a very large increase in our property values in 2023. We're seeing it now in 24. In last May, I had assumed, because of the state's biennial budget process, that the local capacity would not change until this coming year with the new budget cycle. What has happened is that the state, the local capacity has changed to reflect our, excuse me, our increased property values. So this first year of our local capacity, we have our new revaluation in there, and that's a rolling average, so it will impact us for the next 3 years. We didn't know that value was going to be updated until late summer. So that is a big change from May. How has value been affected by this local capacity change? I wanted to take a look at Western Montgomery County schools, just to give an idea of how they were affected. All 5 of these schools are being funded through the formula. So Northmont had a $378 change in their local capacity from last year to this year. Brookville is $445, very similar to Valley View, which is at $444. And then Miamisburg at $478. This doesn't sound like a big change. The percentage of numbers are changing to 4.5, 4.5, 5.5, almost 6%. Those sound kind of bigger. But the true impact, that we really don't see it until we apply it to the number of students we have. When we apply it to the numbers of students that we have in those districts, Northmont is seeing $1.6 million less than they would have anticipated last year, just due to the local capacity change. Brookville, $656, Valley View, $720,000 less in state funding than we had anticipated back in May, just because of the local capacity change. Now, some of the things that to consider, all of these schools again are being funded on the state formula. Now, New Lebanon, Valley View, and Miamisburg are on the 20 mil floor. So what happens there is that our property taxes can increase as our property values increase now. Valley View has an income tax, which has been a very stabilizing force in our funding of our schools. Something that got my attention is that New Lebanon failed an income tax renewal in this past November's election. So New Lebanon will really see the impact of this greatly. Again, how it affected Valley View, just to give an idea, the cost to educate a student is about $8,000, both in 24 and 25, according to the state and how they fund it. You can see our local capacity going from $4,043 to $4,487, almost $4,500. And the difference in the state aid is our $719. What we're looking at now that I know that we have changed the local capacity, the state funding formula has only been in existence for a couple of years, so it's kind of new. But now that I know they changed it this year, in my assumptions for this forecast, I said, okay, they're going to change local capacity every year. They're just going to roll this property increase all the way through. We see our property increase, or local capacity increase for the next 3 years. So from 2024 to 2028, we have an $800 increase in our local capacity, the amount that we value are expected to bring to the party as far as state funding. And then it levels off, not assuming that there's not any large property revaluations yet again. How are income tax revenues coming in, being collected this year? We're actually seeing an increase. My forecast was rather flat because from 23 to 24, it was flat. So I thought that was some a cooling off period. But we have half of our income tax collections collected so far for this year in October, and then here in December, July and October. And we are seeing an increase. And interestingly enough, I take a look at this every quarter that we collect revenues, and the proportion of revenue income base that we collect in the first half of the year is very consistent through all the years. So given that consistency, feel comfortable that our income property taxes are going to end up very strong this year for us. And I have that built into the 5-year forecast as well. Looking at our updated cost inputs, there's some things that have happened over the summer that I didn't know in May. So I was able to build those into this forecast. A couple of the items are the forecasted increase overall for salaries was 2%. When we negotiated last year, we ended up at 3%. We did have some staff resignations and we had to replace those. So those cost changes are built into the forecast. Our benefits, medical benefits, I had projected at 8%. And for this year, they came in at 6%. So those were factored in. And then in our curriculum, we've had some changes with our student placements. So all of those additional expenses or reductions are built into this forecast. So what are we going to do? The district has been put into action. We are taking action now, and the items that we are planning on doing from here until the end of the school year, we're moving into the new building. We really anticipate identifying a lot of operational efficiencies that we're going to be able to take advantage of once we move to this new school, being all under one roof, consolidating some functions, just taking a look at how things are. Leveraging our CTC resources to additionally give our students a good education, but we don't necessarily have to hire staff to do that. We can utilize the CTC resources. And also we are looking at some creative solutions in some targeted cost structure areas. So the conclusions is that the update to the local capacity did change our forecast. It was a shock to the system. But we still had a good general fund balance. Cost reduction measures are required for fiscal year 26 to continue this position. But current projections are for a healthy general fund balance for the next couple of years. Close attentions have to be made to the fair school funding model, because as you can see, a small, slight change can make a very big difference to all districts across the state. But the one thing I want to say is that I've said for the last several updates, we have the tools and the monitoring systems to recognize when something is wrong or when something is changing, when we need to take action, and it worked. We were able to identify this very quickly, and it worked. I have met with several administrators already. We had an administrators meeting today. We were talking about this, going over this. Our team is pulling together, and we are going to tackle our cost expenditure side of things with everything that we have as soon as we get moved in. So thank you very much. Are there any questions?
So, I don't recall what it was. When we had our forecast in May, and I'm aware that our cash position is the envy of districts all over the county. But we had a forecast in May. When were we looking in our previous forecast for fall below that line?
It was in 2028,
Okay.
so we've lost a year.
So essentially, we have to find a way to be creative
Yes,
to get that year back.
yes, we do.
It's kind of what needs to be the goal.
That's exactly right.
And whatever tools you need from the district to help you do that, obviously let us know.
Yeah, like I said, we have a great administrative team. And I think we all understand the position and we all know where we need to be. So I think we'll get there.
But 2027 seems close.
It does. does.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Can we ask questions out here?
Sure.
So I guess, just in layman terms, really quickly, when you say that the local capacity value was a shock to the system, can you tell me exactly what that means, or in layman terms?
I had, in May, I had anticipated our local capacity to be a particular value.
Right.
Based upon history, the 2 years that I have, historical history that I have for the Fair School Funding Fund. It changed so that we get $728,000 less from the state,
$1,000 less.
from the state in funding.
Okay. So where are we gonna make that up?
We are looking at,
That's where you're gonna be creative.
yes, mhm.
Okay.
We have some targeted areas that we're looking to look at.
Thank you very much.
All right, recommended, Roman numeral 4C, recommend the board approve the 5-year forecast and assumptions for fiscal year 2025 through fiscal year 2030. Make a motion that we approve that. Do you have a second? Any discussion? Valerie, thank you for all your hard work
Thanks.
and dealing in the parameters that we don't know. Valerie, would you call the roll?
Mr. Dillon,
Yes.
Mr. Rudd,
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore.
Yes.
Dr. Smith.
Roman numeral 6D, recommend the board approve the revised appropriation certificate for fiscal year 25. Valerie, would you real quickly give an explanation of what that is?
Yes, based upon where the dust has settled, this is an update to the projected budgeted values so that I can set the appropriations properly, send those to the county, and apply those to our current expenditures.
Would someone like to make a motion to that effect? We have a second? Second. Any discussion? Valerie, would you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Dillon,
Yes.
Mr. Rudd,
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore.
Yes.
Dr. Smith.
Roman numeral 6E, recommend the board approve the grant award check in the amount of $1,000 from Ohio Space Grant Consortium, Valley View Junior High School for the project entitled Launchpad Innovators 3D Printing CubeSats for High Altitude Research. Make a motion, we approve that. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? And thank you to those who work hard seeking grants. Valerie, would you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Dillon,
Yes.
Mr. Rudd,
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore.
Yes.
Dr. Smith.
Roman numeral 6F, recommend the board approve the then and now certification for Buckeye Charters, in the amount of $3,656. Valerie, would you give the 2-second explanation of what a then and now is?
Yes, then and now is that we have an invoice and it has a particular date, and then we have a purchase order come through that has a date after the invoice. And those that are over $3,000 need to come to the board.
I make a motion to approve that. Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Valerie, would you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Dillon,
Yes.
Mr. Rudd,
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore.
Yes.
Dr. Smith.
Roman numeral 7G, recommend the board approve the donations from the Valley View class 1984. I'm going to read them all again just because they're all the same again. Valley View class 2023, Tom and Linda Valendistel, Glenn and Lorraine Bowman, Mike and Shannon Cox, Greg and Carol Donaldson, the Doves Company Charitable Foundation, Mike and Linda Eckert, Fred and Karen Garone. Did I say it right?
So close.
I'll give you, let me explain this to you later, right? My ears don't hear that. Farmersville Veterinary Clinic and the Hodgson family, the Holzmueller family, Dave and Lou Iser, the Longman family, Jason and Jay Michael, Rocco and Lynn Miller, Jess and Amanda Reed, Schaller family, Robert and Julia Smith, Mark and Sarah James Steinecker, Catherine Grunwald Stone, Craig Swanson, Jim and Bonnie Duxbury, Valley View Community Drug-Free Coalition, Beth Genslinger, and the Valley View PTO. Would someone like to make a motion that we approve those donations? Do we have a second? Any discussion? Would you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Dillon,
Yes.
Mr. Rudd,
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore.
Yes.
Dr. Smith.
Roman numeral 7A, personnel, approve personnel action as recommended in attachment number 3. Would someone like to make a motion to that effect? Do we have a second? Any discussion? Valerie, would you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Dillon.
Yes.
Mr. Rudd.
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore.
Yes.
Dr. Smith.
Roman numeral 7B, recommend the board approve the resolution to nominate Dr. Stephanie Smith for the Ohio School Boards Association's Recognition Award. I will make a motion to that effect. Do we have a second? Second. Discussion. So this is a recognition that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of commitment. As a matter of fact, in the history of Valley View Local School District, there have been 2 people who have achieved this recognition as master school board member. And one is Dr. Smith, and the other is Mr. Reed, sitting in the back. And both absolutely exemplary for what a school board member should be. In the state of Ohio last year, over how many, 3,300, 3,400 school board members total? 2 people achieved this accomplishment. And if you don't get it done in the 3 minutes, the 3 years you have to do it, doesn't matter how far along the process you've got, you got to start all the way over. And Stephanie has been committed to this. And so my comment is that I would not pick anybody else to serve on the school board other than Stephanie Smith. She's shown a level of commitment that is just out of this world.
Congratulations, it is a lot of work, very impressive.
Well, you always use so many more words than I do. Valerie, would you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Dillon.
Yes.
Mr. Rudd.
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore.
Yes.
Dr. Smith.
Abstain.
Roman numeral 7C, recommend the board approve the resolution to participate in the Ohio Military Veteran Educators Program Recruiting Initiative. Who up here would like to give the description of the background of that? Who's best qualified for that?
I can.
Okay.
There's a program that's available to the state that, if we hire a military veteran, and this also includes spouses, this allows us to, provide a signing bonus of $3,000 to that person. And if they are employed with the district for 1 year, we can apply for reimbursement for that $3,000 signing bonus, as well as receive $1,500 unrestricted grant from the state.
Would someone like to make a motion that we approve a resolution to participate in the Ohio Military Veteran Educators Program Recruiting Initiative? Do a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Valerie, would you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Dillon.
Yes.
Mr. Rudd.
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore.
Yes.
Dr. Smith.
Yes.
Roman numeral 7D, this is not a voting item, but we have on here discussion regarding Tyson Dillon's student safety memo. Tyson, would you mind giving a little bit of background of what you did?
So to start off, in August of this year, I got to attend the Ohio School Safety Summit. And the keynote speaker was Matt Shatner, who was the father of a child slain at Marjorie Stone Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. And they formed the Marjorie Stone Douglas High School Committee under direction of Governor Rick Scott at the time. And they went through and analyzed everything from the event, from video cameras to police response to police radio traffic. They've got this thing nailed down to the second. And it was remarkable how much work they had done to make improvements for all the kids in Florida. So it made me think, you know, we're so lucky that we don't have to worry about being victims of crime so much in our community. We all feel pretty safe. Well, why would we wait for a tragedy to happen until we start implementing safety procedures and protocols? So I went through information from the Marjorie Stone Douglas Commission, the United States Secret Service, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and I collected a bunch of data that's really remarkable. Everywhere from physical security to communication between law enforcement and the educators. The murderer, he had 55 inches of discipline at school, and law enforcement was called to his house 43 separate times. And neither one of the other communicated that to the other, that, hey, we might have a problem with this kid. Without going into the gory graphic details, he shot 34 people. 2 of them were teachers. 17 died and 17 were injured. So I started compiling a list of things that we could do to improve safety measures here at Valley View. I did both a list of low cost or free solutions, and then there are solutions that would create a need for financial support. And the low to no cost things would be locking the classroom doors when children are in the classrooms. We don't think about how important that is, but if a bad guy's here trying to get in and the doors are locked, he's not going to get in. That would also go within in the new school, film over the windows, protect children, maybe window coverings in emergency situations. That would be a financial burden. Review and update policies to communicate better with law enforcement. Then some of the costly solutions, some of them are very important to me. Those would include a stop the bleed kit in each classroom, door barricades, things like that. The Secret Service determined that there is no profile of a student attacker, and there is no profile of a type of school that has been targeted. So I'm in no way saying that this is going to happen here. I'm merely saying that let's make it really hard for this to happen. Anything else?
Yeah.
So we are now forming a safety committee that will have law enforcement, administrators, and hopefully opinions from the community. We got to be very conscious of cost, but we need to really take advantage of the things we can do that are low cost or free.
So, one, thank you. That was I don't know if we've got it made available to the public, if we can, we probably should make it available to the public so they can see what's been put on paper. But I appreciate the effort. And you bring a law enforcement mindset to a student safety mindset, that's very helpful. And so that might be something that some of you here tonight might be interested in participating in. But I'm thankful for guys helping identify the things that we are doing, the things that we aren't yet doing, the things that we could do with little to no effort. The only reason this is on the agenda is I wanted to do any questions?
All right, Roman numeral 8, superintendent's comments.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Rudd, and thank you, Mr. Dillon, for your work on the memo. That was brought up to our administrators, and we did have discussion today regarding those low-hanging fruit, I call them, those low-cost items that will be implemented immediately as we wait for your safety committee to put together some other thoughts for us, but our administrators were very apt to take in what your recommendations were to see some changes within our new building. Thank you for spending your time with us this evening. Those of you who showed up, I know you have a choice of what to do with your night, and we're glad that you chose to spend it with us tonight here. Those of you who made your generous donations to our foundation, we are forever grateful for your kindness to help our children within the district. We did have a group of students at the Ohio School Board Association conference that represented the community very well this past week. So 2 different groups showed up and presented to those educators and board members who attended the conference and did an absolutely outstanding job. Really proud of the work that they're doing here and out in the community. So thank you to those youngsters. We are really excited about our new building. Very, very much excited, and as Eric said, we will get you in there as quickly as we can. That it's safe for you to join us in the building. I think you'll be very impressed. Our children are excited to get into the building and our teachers, so we thank you as a community for making that happen for us. And lastly, I do want to bring up that we do have a holiday support for families of low income that is going on right now. We do have the names of children who are looking for a nice Christmas that otherwise would not be possible without community support. So if you are interested in sponsoring, adopting a child or family for this Christmas, please let us know, call board office, and we will connect you with Lindsay Thompson, who is running that charge for our families that are of low socioeconomic status right now, to help give them a nice Christmas. So, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. All right, board member comments, room number 9. Let's work our way to the outside the middle, so we'll start with you.
Just want to talk about the new building. It's really exciting. We went and saw it just an hour ago, and it was very beautiful. So exciting going there. And just the best wishes to Michelle Gephart's family. You know, it's always a tragedy seeing someone from our community who works so hard each and every day just pass away. So just, we're sending love and prayers to her family.
Thank you.
I know you really certainly exceeded my expectations, and I think you guys will love it. I hope those little kids are grateful for that awesome playground. It's really cool. And congratulations to Dr. Smith. I didn't realize it was such a prestigious accomplishment.
I also thought the new school was just incredible. There's so many exciting things that I don't think the community knows about, like the open spaces for students to go in and learn that are just different from the classroom style. I just think there's a lot of new implements going to this school, and I just think it's phenomenal. Also, I think what Mrs. Gunter is doing for musical is amazing. I'm in musical, and it's just such a welcoming community. I don't want to see the program go away. Like, it's honestly a place for all kinds of students just to come together. You don't even have to like have experience in theater. I mean, I sure don't, but it's just such a welcoming community. And also, I'd like to send my prayers to Michelle Gephart's family. It's such a tragedy. She was always so kind. You know, I'd go through the lunch line and she would compliment me every day. She always made sure everyone was doing okay.
So first of all, I wanted to thank the donors. It's really neat seeing people that aren't necessarily affiliated with schools anymore still pour their love into the community and doing it, make a donation that really makes a difference. And congratulations, Dr. Smith. I got to go to the OSBA conference a week ago, and it was nice to get to all the learning sessions, and it was also nice to be able to connect with the administration. In one of the learning sessions, I learned about the school safety liaison, and that's through the Ohio Department of School Safety. I reached out to him, and he has already been in touch with Eric, and there will be a vulnerability survey done at the new school once it's occupied. So we're already checking things off my list, and I'm real happy with the direction everything's going.
I want to thank all the donors as well. Congratulate Dr. Smith as well. The Valley Performing Arts Committee, I've been following all their updates for the 2 years, and I knew they had some really talented people working on it, but that building was impressive, and I can't wait to see what you get going here with the fundraising now. It was a really impressive display.
Thank you again to all the donors, all the community groups, PTO, Lions Club, I could go on and on. Your support to the school is everything for us. It really is what binds the community together. I appreciate the accolades, but like I've said again, I didn't do this program through the State School Board Association. I didn't do it for me. I did it because I wanted to put my best foot forward as a school board member. And that was the best avenue that I saw that I could do that. And luckily I had a little bit of time to be able to do that over this past year. And of course, when I met Jesse at the groundbreaking, I'm like, I know about that program. I know you're the only one who's done it. I think I'm gonna try to go for it. He's like, it's a lot of work. And I'm like, well, you know, if you don't strive for it, then you're never gonna know what you're capable of doing. And I take that same, approach with my grandchildren or people who are students here in the district. You don't strive really hard for something, it's okay if you fail. It's all right, but you're further ahead than you would have been if you didn't try at all. And so it's just kind of my life, approach to how I approach things. But I just really appreciate the support from the community. It is tough, I think, for us to sit up here as board members and to try to please everybody. You realize very quickly you can't, but you do your best, and I really think that we have a pretty awesome school board, and I think we have awesome administration, and I think everybody is really in it for the right reasons, and I think we truly do care, and I think we're in a good spot, and I trust that Valerie and the rest of the administration will get us fiscally solid again. I know that's something that I definitely have a strong interest in making sure that we maintain that. I was really impressed with our students up at Capitol Conference that were up there representing Valley View. And I was so proud to finally see some Valley View kids up there because I knew we had great kids doing great things here. We were able to showcase them up there. And they really gave me a run for their money when I was trying to figure out some of the stuff they were doing with their gadgets. I couldn't do it. They were pretty impressive. But anyway, thank you.
All right, so I will echo everything that everybody said, except I won't put any more accolades on you. So, I would just like to say that I'm very encouraged to see so many people with so many varied interests in this group. I see people who are very focused on performing arts. I see people who are very focused on Farmersville and what happens with the school there. And so I think that it's productive and constructive for our community when the people who have the interests can all be in the same room and when they're getting the information that we're getting from Valerie. So we have challenges ahead of us. One of the goals is to not come to the community asking for more money and yet come up with money to do the things that need to be done. This school needs a proper performing arts facility. The old building in Farmersville needs to be down. It cannot be a blight in that community. And so it's encouraging to see people with those interests here. One thing I would ask, rumors spread. Rumors spread quickly, and rumors create work for people who already have lots of work on their table. The most recent rumor that we're hearing is that the old high school, this building is going to be opened up somehow as some sort of a homeless facility with washers and dryers and shower facilities and this, that, and the other. Happy to get that one on good authority today, and so that's not true. There's nothing about that. Historically, we currently provide places to wash clothes and places for if students were to be deemed homeless, that they can have a shower. And there's a reason for that. One, it's the right thing to do, but even if it weren't the right thing to do, that we were doing of our own initiative, the McKinney-Vento Homeless Act passed by 100 Congress requires that we provide that. And so when you hear rumors, please don't spread them. Loquaciousness and ignorance don't go well together. And so when we don't know something, rather than speak, maybe that's just the right time to ask a question. And you can always ask me a question. If I know the answer, I will do my best to get it to you. Even if I'm on vacation, I will do what I can. If not, I will ask somebody, and as soon as the answer is available, we'll try to get it to you. But ask the question, because a lot of times the things that become distractions in a community really don't need to. And so I would just ask that people think before they pass on the next interesting, no matter how outlandish thing comes along. Lastly, I'm so excited. Tomorrow's the last day with the students in the current buildings. And so we have buildings over 100 years old that have seen students through so many generations. And so, it's a good time to pause and be thankful for the people that have come before. Because there had to be somebody back in the early 1900s that said, you know what, we need to do school buildings. And that happens, and someday someone's going to look at this new beautiful building on the hill and say, and that old thing needs torn down. And that's okay, that's how that is. And so just be thankful for the fact that we have such a great heritage that's come before us. And the goal is to leave it better than you found it. And this community, I think, has really worked really hard to do that. So thank you. Yes, sir.
So I just want to speak up. I am going to go liaison to the district. Nicole, Valerie, and I, 3 years ago, applied for a grant for $17,000 to create what's called Ready With. That involves supplies, it involves shower, it even involves cooking, shampoo, hygiene equipment, anything like that. So we took that money, and were able to purchase the laundry sets, the kitchen set, and then the shower set to be able to add into our current home ec room, because that's the most economical place to do it. There's zero taxpayer dollars coming out of the Valley District School. That's not
Yeah. So, as is often the case, there's somebody who has a better answer than I do, and so thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? I still thinking about it. Second. All right, any discussion? Valerie, would you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Dillon.
Yes.
Mr. Rudd.
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore.
Yes.
Dr. Smith.
Thank you, everyone.